Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What's that? I can't tell you how excited I am. Kaldheim. And guess what? We got boys and girls. I'm so excited. Okay, so let me calm down. Take a big deep breath. Okay, so here's the reason why I'm excited. Okay, so when I started playing Magic, I started back during Scars of Meridian. One of the big mechanics during that block was Infect. I understand not a lot of people love Infect. In fact, it makes a lot of people salty. But that's okay, because you know what? Kaldheim is just around the corner. And with some of the recent preview cards, well, Poison is back, and I couldn't be more excited. In fact, I was so excited the moment this particular card was previewed, I ended up building a standard deck and ended up putting my EDH deck on hold. But that's okay, because you guys are going to get to see deck techs for both of them. That's right, both decks. However, this will be the first part of the deck tech, followed by the commander deck. Once I've got everything figured out, I'm working out the lands on that one, and so that one's taking a little bit longer, but it's a 100-card deck. Makes sense, right? Right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring this up. So now the cool thing is I'm using Tapped Out. Tapped Out, if you've never been on it, it is a great way to kind of keep track of decks, but also look, do some research and stuff like that. So, and where some of the cards are from Kaldheim, obviously they're not out yet, but I have been able, due to Tapped Out's ability, been able to play test these cards to make sure that the flow and the synergy is there. So we're going to jump right in. This is a green-black aggro death touch / poison counter deck. Now, the main card of the deck here is going to be, let me see if I can zoom in. Oh boy. I just, because I'm, all right, so I'm still in the editing mode, but I like this because you can actually see the images. So the main component of the deck falls around Finn the Fang Bearer. So he costs 1 and a green for a 1/3 legendary human warrior with death touch. Now here's the kicker. With Finn, it says whenever a creature you control with death touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters, not 1, but 2. So here's the combo, if you will. Creature with death touch gets through, deals combat damage, boom, your opponent gets 2 poison counters. But what if you have more than 1 creature with death touch? See the stack? You can get a lot of poison counters on your opponents real quick. Now, one thing to know with poison counters, your opponent only needs 10 poison counters to be dead. So I went this route with the with this aggro theme with death touch, and you'll see as I go through the rest of the cards kind of where the focus is. So I've got my 1 drops, 2 drops, and then 3 drops. And then I do have a bigger creature just to give it that little extra oomph. So we'll start out. So we got 4 copies of Foulmower Knight. This is actually a really cool card, kind of some multi-utility. So for a 1 drop, 1/1 creature with death touch, or you can pay 2 and a black to play its adventure to be able to draw a card, lose a life, put Foulmower Knight in exile, and then you can cast them for the 1 mana later. Next is Moss Viper. Again, just a 1 drop, 1/1 with death touch. Remember, with death touch, even if you give it a buff of a 1/1, 2/2, 3/3, or you give it trample, you only have to assign 1 point of damage to any creature that blocks, and then the rest goes to the player. So this will take some finagling. And again, this is going to be standard legal, so you'll be able to do that on Arena as well. Tajuru Blight Blade. So it is another 1-drop, a 1/1 elf rogue with Death Touch. These are really good to be able to get them out fast, so you can start swinging with them. And so you get these guys out, and then say turn 2, turn 3, as long as you have Finn on the battlefield, that's when you're going to start dealing the poison. You'll do the combat damage, and then you'll do the poison counters. So now we move on to our 3-drop. First, we have Hooded Blightfang. Now, I put Hooded Blightfang in here because he provides an extra level of pain, punishment, triggers. So for 2 and a black, he is a snake with Death Touch, but his abilities are what's really key. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. So this gives your creatures a way to counteract planeswalkers as well. Plus, if you're playing like what I do, I have a group that we play multiplayer games with 60-card decks. So this allows me to be able to spread the damage out, even if I'm not necessarily swinging at everyone. But for this deck, I want to swing at everyone because I want them all to have poison counters. Imagine that. Next up, we've got Nighthawk Scavenger. Fantastic card. So 1 black and black for a vampire rogue with flying, Death Touch, and lifelink. And then Nighthawk Scavenger's power is equal to 1 plus the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. So this is a fantastic card from Zendikar Rising. And not only does it provide you, obviously, Death Touch, but flying, which is a great form of evasion, and lifelink. So combine that with Finn, you're gonna be sitting pretty as far as dealing out some damage. And then finally, the last creature, no, second to last, excuse me. We've got Vargoth, Bloodsky Sire. This is another creature from Kaldheim, a 2/3 demon rogue with Death Touch, and he also has Boast. So for 1 and a black, target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top. So this gives you a chance to really tutor out cards that you may need going into the mid and late game if you need to. Again, because you're able to boast. Now, keep in mind that ability can only be activated if Vargoth had attacked. So there are some draw outlets, not a lot, but there are some. So it will allow you to be able to really tutor and stack the deck, if you will, to how you want to be able to play it. So just for the basic creatures that we've got, 4 copies of Foulmower Knight, 3 copies of Moss Viper, 4 copies of Tajuru Blight Blade, 3 copies of Finn the Fangbearer, 2 of Hooded Blightfang, 2 of Nighthawk Scavenger, and then 2 of Vargoth. But there's one more creature, and maybe I was a little overambitious, but I had to do it. Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. That's right, the Phyrexians somehow are invading Kaldheim. And so, of course, a Phyrexian is going to have to go in this deck. It's just a given. So, Vorinclex costs 6, 4 green, for a 6/6 for Phyrexian Praetor with Trample and Haste. Now, here's the cool thing about Vorinclex. If you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or a player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. So if you're giving 4 poison counters because you had 2 creatures go through and do combat damage, you're actually going to give your opponent 8. See where I'm going with this? Nasty. Now, if an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, then Vorinclex triggers, meaning they will actually put half that many. So it actually slows it down in case somebody else is playing the same type of deck or same type of archetype, if you will. So Vorinclex, we're only going to be running one copy of him just because, one, it's a big cost card. This deck, in theory, based on what I was able to simulate and whatnot, you should be able to come out with a win by turn 4, turn 5. I was able to also do one at turn 7 with Vorinclex out. I was able to cheat him out, and I'll explain how I was able to do that here shortly. So that's the creature base. I'm going to jump over to the artifact. So I've got one copy of Mirror Shield. Now, Mirror Shield is a fantastic card. So for 2 colorless with 2 to equip, equipped creature gets +0/+2 and has hexproof. And whenever a creature with death touch blocks or becomes blocked by this creature, destroy that creature. So this is going to be a great form of protection if somebody else is playing death touch, because if you go to swing with Hooded Blightfang or Vampire Nighthawk, oh my gosh, Nighthawk Scavenger. Vampire Nighthawk is who Nighthawk Scavenger originated from. But back to the task at hand. So if a creature with Death Touch blocks yours that's equipped with Mirror Shield destroys that creature. So it will help, because really you want to protect Finn. Finn is the key component of this deck. Moving on to the enchantments, Garrick's Uprising, solid enchantment. So 2 and a green when it enters the battlefield. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. If you get that, cool. If not, no biggie. The biggest thing is this gives your creatures trample. So very, very key component, especially where we are running all death touch. Now moving on to the instance, running 2 copies of Alchemist's Gift. This is really nice to use, especially if, say you're swinging with Finn, and Finn has Mirror Shield equipped. What you can do is you can actually cast Alchemist's Gift before damage is dealt. Blockers are already attacked, blockers are already declared. Cast Alchemist's Gift, give your opponent their creature, give it Death Touch. That'll then trigger Mirror Shield, and it'll destroy their creature. It's kind of a nasty, nasty play, and not one that a lot of people would think. But it also gives your creatures a buff as well. So you've got some flexibility with how you want to use it. Heroic Intervention, running 2 copies of that. This is going to serve as a great form of protection, giving your permanents hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. The next, another new one from Kaldheim, Raise the Draugr. For 1 and a black, choose one. Either return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or return 2 target creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand. Where we're running 2 or 3 copies of each creature, you're able to get some back, or get more back. So actually a really great Grave Recursion card that allow for a very cheap cost. 1 and a black. That's nothing. Ram Through is a great one. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. If the creature you control has trample, access damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Now keep in mind, this will be non-combat damage. However, you play that before combat, and you can take out their defenses before moving in for the attack. And then the last one, Mammoth Growth, target creature gets +4/+4 till end of turn. But the cool thing with this one that I personally like is it has foretell. So foretell is one of the new mechanics in Kaldheim. You pay 2, you exile a card face down, and then you can cast it at a later time for its foretell cost. Now, the cool thing with this one, and I love that it's a common, is that its foretell costs and the cost to be able to exile it face down is going to be the same as if you hard cast it anyway. So this is a great way to really give that extra punch, if you will, through to be able to get hopefully the win. And then jumping over to sorceries, Blood Chief's Thirst, great target removal. So 1 black, destroy target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 2 or less. Now, if you pay the kicker cost, so 2 black, in addition to the actual casting, so if the spell is kicked, instead destroy target creature or planeswalker. Very versatile. Last but not least, King Harold's Revenge. This is another one from Kaldheim. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control and gains trample. It must be blocked this turn if able. So you want to put this on a big creature, say Vorinclex, give it a buff and swing with everything. That means your opponents can only block that designated creature. Put it on Vorinclex, put it on you name it, whatever you want. At the end of the day, you have Death Touch, you have Trample, you can just boop, 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 go all the way through, take out their defenses, and you may even have enough to be able to punch some combat damage through. And then, of course, hand out poison counters like Oprah hands out cars. That's right. Finally, finishing up with the land. So we're running 22 lands in this. So 5 the snow-covered swamps, 5 copies of snow-covered forest. I could have gone the regular, but because it's Kaldheim, I thought, you know what, let's go with the snow-covered forest. They're gorgeous, gorgeous art. Although I think this is using it from Modern Horizons, but that's okay because what they're doing with Kaldheim looks absolutely gorgeous. So 10 basics right there. We've got Castle Garenbrig. This is from Throne of Eldraine. So it enters tapped unless you control a forest. Obviously, if you got the snow-covered forest out, you're good. It'll tap for a green or tap 2 green, tap Castle Garenbrig, and add 6 green mana, and then spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures. Now, I picked this one specifically because I'm going to go back to the creatures here for a moment. Vorinclex costs 6, 4 green. So this, in theory, allows you to cheat out Vorinclex by as early as turn 5. As early as turn 5. So why not get a giant Phyrexian Praetor a turn early? I mean, sign me up. All right. And then, of course, we got Castle Lochthwain. This is also a great card for card draw. Again, because we're playing very aggro and because we're relying more on the poison counters, this allows you to kind of sacrifice your life a little bit. I wouldn't go too crazy with it because in theory, if the deck runs the way it's supposed to, you should have the win by turn 4, as early as turn 4, if not turn 5. So, but if you get kind of stuck a little bit on your card draw, Castle Lochthwain will help out with that. Jungle Hollow, 2 copies of that just to gain some extra life. Radiant Fountain, when it ETBs, you gain 2 life to provide that colorless. And then Temple of Milady, a couple Scrylands, because it doesn't hurt to be able to just take a quick peek and be able to see what's coming up. So, I mean, you can even play it where you play your land for turn with Temple of Milady and you already have, say, Castle Lochthwain out. Then you can actually draw that card. So gives you that value engine as well. So that is the deck. I'm super excited to get my hands on this. I'm super excited for Kaldheim, for everything that we've seen so far, and there's still more and more coming. So I hope you guys enjoy the deck. I will put a link to the deck itself from Tapped Out in the description. So if you like it, you can check it out, and then hopefully you're able to get those cards as you're opening packs, cracking packs. Obviously, Finn, the Fang Bearer, is the key component of this. But to be honest, I'm super excited for this deck. I'm excited to play it in standard, both on Arena, but on tabletop as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck tech, because I mean, who doesn't love deck techs? I mean, I love deck techs. They're fun. So that's going to be it. Again, make sure to like, comment, share the video if you enjoyed it. And stay tuned, because like I said, I've got another deck tech coming. This one will be a commander-based deck. So it's going to be some salty goodness, if you know what I mean. So that's going to be it for this particular video. Again, thanks so much for sticking with us, for supporting us. We definitely appreciate it. I speak for Trevor, Dave, and myself. We appreciate each and every one of you. And the league, I'm telling you, Trevor, coming after you. Yeah, you may have won 2 weeks in a row, but I'm on the hunt. And while I can't necessarily give you poison counters in the league, I can guarantee I'm going to be working my way up. So don't you worry. It's coming. I'm coming. And we'll catch you on the next one. Oops. Let's try that again, shall we? Guys. Son of a bitch. Okay, let's try this one more time.